The FBI has raided the headquarters of one of the nation's largest operators of psychiatric hospitals.
Hundreds complained of overbilling, misdiagnosed conditions, and insurance fraud.
Investigators say they found more than 5,000 similar cases in all 50 states.
Psychiatrists clearly are getting rich.
Psychiatrists traded drugs for sex, filed false insurance claims, and exploited patients sexually.
We have uncovered some of the most elaborate, aggressive, creative, deceptive, immoral, and illegal schemes being used to fill empty hospital beds with insured and paying patients.
Chaque psychiatre fait le serment d'adhérer à un code de conduite éthique. Considérer le bien-être de ses patients avant tout. Mais de toutes les disciplines médicales, la psychiatrie connaît le plus grand nombre d'escroqueries et d'abus.
Psychiatry is almost a license to print money. If a doctor were clever enough, and many of them are, there's no reason that they couldn't make at least $500,000 a year fraudulently and get away with it in psychiatry.
I don't purport to have deposed every psychiatrist in Las Vegas. I can tell you for a fact I haven't. Maybe I've deposed half. And by and large, they were a dishonest, deceitful, lying bunch of people.
Les méthodes de facturation trompeuse et criminelle des psychiatres sont si répandues que les enquêteurs d'assurance ont des expressions pour en parler, telles que le « hello à la va-vite » ou encore la poignée de main à $100.
$100 handshake is when usually a patient is institutionalized. Psychiatrist, psychologist will visit that person, shake hands with them, say, hello, I'm Dr. So-and-so, I'm taking care of your problem here, and then leaves.
They might have 10 or 20 patients there. They bill an hour for each one, and they might be in the hospital for a total of 30 minutes. So 20 patients, 20 hours, and they'd send the bills off to Medicaid.
We see that most of the victims of recovered memory therapy were women who had excellent health insurance, whether it was government insurance or private insurance, because many insurance policies wouldn't pay for this kind of long-term nonsense. So those people were targeted because of the nature of the insurance that they had.
Chaque année, la psychiatrie américaine escroque le gouvernement et les assurances privées de 40 milliards de dollars par tous les moyens possibles pour tromper le public.
There were some advertisements, very seductive advertisements for people wanting to lose weight and were having problems losing weight. And they would be given, all expenses paid to go to a particular spa. But when they got to this spa and went in and signed in, it wasn't a spa, it was a psychiatric center. And then they couldn't get out.
What instead they received massive doses of mind-altering drugs, and they were kept for a lengthy period of time, and their insurance carrier was billed tremendous amounts of money for something that was unnecessary.
Mais les psys mentent non seulement dans leur établissement, mais aussi au tribunal, disant n'importe quoi pour percevoir leur prime de témoin.
A psychiatric expert who will have one opinion in one scenario and a completely opposite opinion in another scenario based on which law firm or governmental agency is paying for his time.
The psychiatrist, on one hand, will tell the public that suicide can be prevented, but will go into court and tell a jury that suicide cannot be prevented. And then once you show his prior inconsistent statements, you also show that he is paid very well by pharmaceuticals, then the jury says, you know what, we're not so sure about you because you just lied to us.
À leur avidité, malhonnêteté et avarice s'ajoutent leurs délits sexuels. Si les psychiatres ne représentent que 6% du corps médical en Amérique, ils commettent le tiers des délits sexuels perpétrés par des médecins.
It has happened so often that by the mid-'80s, the insurance companies who insure physicians across America started writing sexual claims out of the policies altogether. That's how common it was.
The system was so broken that more than 25,000 complaints had been registered, but nothing acted upon. When a psychiatrist has a patient, a female patient, and abuses them sexually, there's a very high probability they'll get away with it.
I've seen many cases where the mental health professional becomes very disturbed and is using very strange and odd treatments, and that can go on for many years with no one finding out about it because it's not very public. It's quite private. Things happen behind closed doors.
Malheureusement, leur délit sexuel implique souvent des enfants. Par exemple, le docteur Markham Berry était à première vue un habitant très respecté de son quartier. Mais cette image a volé en éclats lorsqu'il a été arrêté pour attentat à la pudeur sur des enfants. Des quantités incroyables de matériel pornographique avec des enfants ont été trouvées chez lui, et l'enquête qui a suivi a révélé ses abus sexuels sur d'anciens patients. Des garçons de 7 à 17 ans qu'il photographiait et sodomisait. Cela a constitué ce que l'État a appelé les 50 ans d'aventures sexuelles effrénées et cachées de Berry avec des enfants. Il ne s'agit pas d'un cas isolé. Ce trait soigneusement dissimulé se retrouve typiquement chez les membres de cette profession. Dans chaque ville, chaque région, chaque pays, vous trouverez des psychiatres qui commettent des viols, abus sexuels, meurtres et escroqueries. Et comme vous allez le voir, toute la crédibilité de la psychiatrie repose sur la plus grande escroquerie de toutes,